at least when I try something and it doesn't work, at least I know it didn't work.
Yeah, you're not sitting there wondering what if. And I think
What
that a
if?
lot of people spend way too much of their lives wondering what if I had done this, or I had followed what I wanted to do, or I hadn't been pushed into going to a school I didn't want to, and spending a big chunk of those formative years of your life being told how to think.
Yeah. And
And
that way of thinking has, I mean, I've screwed up a lot,
you're kidding me.
but but
No,
uh,
I'm messing
but
with you.
That's
I've
how
done
you
a lot of
learn.
things.
No,
Like,
but that's the thing too. Like, right? It's like there is no such thing as learning without mistakes. I mean, no, don't let anybody fool
exactly.
you on that one. So making mistakes is part of learning, and at the same time, I think there's beauty into getting up from those situations. Like when you start, like I've said many times, even in pirate radio and different conversations I've had with different people, that there is value in the struggle. And when it comes to music, I don't know if you heard this before, Crystal. Have you ever heard the saying, the harder the life, the sweeter the song?
I haven't, but that's awesome, and it makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah, and it is so true. So like, maybe that's why I resonate with a lot of musicians that had like just the most horrible stories, because I hear those songs, I hear those lyrics, I hear those melodies, and I get transported to those situations and I live them too. So
Well, I think that that's the key trademark of a really good songwriter is being able to capture life experience and convey it to others in a way where they can also share that experience, those emotions, because we've all felt. Sorry, Cope, that's actually Ozbit behind me typing, not me.
you know, what's funny is that I hear typing, and Cope just shared a little GIF of a little cat typing, and I thought for a second, do GIFs make sounds? Like, of course not. but, but that coincided with
uh,
the noise, so I was like, man, that's pretty
It's
cool.
on beat.
It's on beat. So
and I've
then,
completely forgot what I was talking about. Sorry.
yeah, you know what? That's what happens when weird sounds come into play. So then Pechi was a professional musician when he was 16. So he had not shaven once, and he was already a professional musician.
Well, I had my first shave when I was like 25, so
See, I knew that. I do know some things. I said I do know some things. So then he was already touring, and then what happened with Pechi is that he became pretty much like the Swiss Army knife for this particular company, which was called Borkes Entertainment. Right? Correct me if
yeah.
I'm wrong. So you were
Yeah,
playing.
that's correct.
That's correct, right? See, I know my stuff. So then Pechi was playing guitar for a bunch of different artists, and that's how you landed a gig with Daniel Betancourt, right? Which was the main gig for years.
Years in the things that actually there's a little part in the middle that you're missing. After I went with Andrea, which was a girl that she released 2 CDs and had some local um, um,
Success?
success. Yeah, and in the middle of that, I got called for opening up one big act. Was a big artist, Juanes, is known in the Latin community like he's a really big artist. So I got to open for him,
This is the Juanes here.
and
Wow.
and after that, a brief. I worked doing some vocals and productions for TV shows. From that, one of those particular productions, I got scouted by Borkis, which is biggest record label, if not the only actual record label there is over there.
Wow, that is freaking insane, man. Like, firstly, congratulations. I know that happened a long time ago, but
You know what's funny
damn.
is that I would hear these stories, and that's why they're extra funny to me because I would hear the stories about how my little brother's doing so good. Like my mom, of course, she's a good mother, she's a great mother. I think I could have told her I wanted to sweep the streets, and she would have been, son, whatever broom I can get you, you tell me. Like, because that's the type of mom she is. She's awesome. But so
I've had a quick little view of your mum, and I think she is amazing, and I have to meet her someday. She looks like so much fun.
You will. One day you'll come to the farm in Ecuador. It's gonna be fantastic. But but my mom would tell me, "Hey, your little brother's doing this, that, he's touring," and then I would talk to Pechi, and I would ask him, "Hey, so what happened?" And Pechi would be like, "Oh, you have no idea. It was crazy. I slept on a van for 2 days, and then I hadn't eaten, and then I got sick because they gave me some weird food, and then this other band came." This other band was going to play, and I wanted to move my amplifier, and the band manager for the other band pulled out a gun on me, and I'm like, okay, so what is going on? It's like, I'm getting... Wait, see...
the touring life is not so pretty.
Yeah, I would...
yeah, that sounds kind of fucking intense.
But the gun thing, that's not a joke. That's true, Pechi, right? How does it go? Am I exaggerating? Did you not get it?
I mean, there was no actual gun pointing, but
okay, so I did exaggerate. But he did show the gun, right?
That could have happened.
He showed you the gun, or not you, but your other buddy.
Yeah, he didn't show it to me, but it just everything got.
You knew there was a gun.
Actually, the military came in.
What?
Oh,
it was a really.
I see. I didn't know this. So the military came in. See, this is the world of touring. So for those who want to be professional musicians, for those who want to tour, this is what you can expect. Gun pulls on you. You can expect the military to show up.
And this was all in Ecuador, right?
Yeah.
Ecuador. The thing is that in Ecuador, there's a law that for any artist that has to perform, if there's a contract that you have to perform at an event, at an official event, and you don't perform for any reason, then jail. That's basically how it goes. It doesn't matter who you are.
You go to jail. So yeah, but according to the story I know, the guy that I guess he flashed a gun. He didn't point it at anybody. Flashed a gun was because they had done a sound check and they didn't want anybody to messing with the equipment. So he was like, okay, listen, nobody's gonna mess with the equipment. And he flashed a gun to make sure that nobody would even attempt to mess with the equipment. Isn't that how it happened then?
Yeah, I'm not gonna say the band's name, but I'm just gonna say it was an international band, like a really big Mexican band, one of the big guys. And the things that what happened is we were supposed to play. I'm just gonna make this up because I don't remember. For example, at 10, and the big event was at 11, but it was already 11 and we hadn't started. I don't know. This was with Daniel Betancourt, this artist I played for
years.
And
were you already writing your own songs back then, or not yet? You were collecting the experiences, right? You were not.
Yeah, I did write a couple songs from that era, but I just kept them, stored. Actually, I uploaded to my D Sound today a song from that era.
Oh yeah. Is it Bossa? Maybe that one.
Yeah. That's a very old song. That's from around that era.
Yeah, that's not, actually it's still one of my favorites, honestly. And out of all the ones you've written, it's still one of my favorites. But okay, with that being said, why don't we play one of your songs? I hope that I'm not gonna have any audio issues with the songs because it's been acting up. And here's the other thing about Pechi, which I particularly I'm proud of him. I mean, I know he's my brother. Hey, you're gonna play? Yeah, you're gonna play guitar. Can you guys hear the guitar? If he plays,
I can hear it all good still.
It sounds perfect to me. Can you guys hear the guitar?
Awesome, they can hear it.
All right, perfect. All right, Pechi. So why don't you play one of your songs? I'm gonna go ahead and mute my microphone. You go for it.
Well, I could play that one. I'm talking about. This is a really old song. It's like. I don't know if I remember it completely, but I'll try.
Perfect. Go for it.
Awesome.
So introduce your song and go ahead and play it. I'm gonna go ahead and mute
Sure.
the microphone to make sure I don't make any weird noises.
There you go. So this song is it's called Bossa de Songwriter, which is like a little wordplay of like uh, of a bossa nova, but it's not really a bossa nova. And I wrote this one like 10 years ago at least, so I hope I remember it. But it goes like this. Tengo ahora un sentimiento fácil de cargar, difícil de explicar, que me causa tu mirar. Un corazón lleno de emociones, un cuerpo lleno de sensaciones y una mente confundida por intentar deliberar el sentimiento que te quiero dedicar. Bossa de samba, una tonada nueva que refleja lo que mi alma tiene llena. Bossa de samba, un lenguaje diferente con que estás presente, con que hoy te siento aquí adentro, aquí adentro. Un corazón lleno de emociones, un cuerpo lleno de sensaciones y una mente decidida por intentar deliberar el sentimiento que te quiero dedicar. Bossa de samba, una tonada nueva que refleja lo que mi alma tiene llena. Bossa de samba, un lenguaje diferente con que estás presente, con que hoy te siento aquí adentro, aquí adentro.
That was awesome. It's an awesome
Yeah.
song. I'm super biased because I'm your brother, but I've always loved that song. And,
Oh, thank you.
and let me ask you something. Crystal, I think she's still muted, so let me ask you something.
Yeah,
Are you ever
sorry, but
are you ever
technology
going
is not my
to
friend.
are you ever going to record it properly and fully produce it and stuff? I mean, this is just gonna stay in the
No, no, I'm actually, that's one of my goals for this year. Well, actually, it was a goal for last year, but it's taken me a while. So, oh, that's me, really young.
That's
Yeah.
Pechi when he started his musical career. He was a baby. Look at that.
Yeah, you look like a little kid. That's
Yeah, he was a little
insane.
kid. He must have been 16. This is when he was started to tour and stuff. And
Yeah.
so, going back to songwriting, you were doing a little bit of it back then, but then you started a method, which I honestly think is a great piece of advice to anyone that wants to get involved writing music. You've had, I don't know if you still do it with the iPad, but you, at least back for a little while, you've had an iPad that has become your, I guess you could call it your trunk of ideas. You just anytime you have some sort of melody or lyrics or chord progression.
Yeah, I do that. I call it my music blog, and it's a very personal thing, and I've got hundreds and hundreds of ideas in that little box, and I have it in my computer. But I have recordings that maybe are from uh, like I don't know 8 years ago, like just little ideas. And sometimes when I'm looking for inspiration, I can go back to whatever I was working on at that time, and maybe I'll connect with it. Maybe something good will come out of it. I have a great teacher, a composition teacher that tells me that music is not always a direct download, but sometimes it's a crappy torrent. So
I like it. So it's not a. If somebody didn't get that, it's like songs, I guess you could say, or music. It's not a direct download. Is a crappy torrent. Sometimes that's a great line. I think I'm gonna steal it.
I have to say, actually, I didn't actually record audio or anything, but I would always be constantly writing down like a line or a phrase or something that I plan to use in my writing at some point, like for the lyrics of a song. So, yeah, I think a lot of people who just have constant ideas and stuff, it's really smart to write them down because it's so easy to fucking forget after you
Exactly.
move on to the next idea. And yeah, it's just a pain in the ass. So, brilliant idea, Pechi.
you can just record. I record anything with my phone. If I have a melody, I'll just sing it to the phone, or if I have a little piece of lyric, I'll just record it as a voice note, and then I'll figure it out.
Eight said has a question for you, Pechi. He wants to know what instrument inspires you to write, aside from guitar, of course. Do you prefer to write on guitar? But I mean, I think
Actually,
I know
don't
this.
prefer to write on guitar.
What?
I hate to write on guitar,
What?
but it's the instrument I play the
Yeah.
most.
I don't know. I don't know. You went down on ninja points like crazy. So you prefer to write on what? On a piano?
I prefer to write with no instrument.
Oh yeah, I can't do that.
Ah,
I can't do that. To me,
that would have to be my area as well. I'll often just sing and write from lyrics, but that's because I can't play anything. I have no excuse.
Even though well, I play guitar, I play a little bit of piano and I play bass, and I develop those skills when I produce. But but for me, the most important part is to get a good melody, and the only way to get a good melody, at least for me in my experience, if it's you're able to sing it. And since I'm not a real singer, like I can't really
get
sing
out of
like
here with
difficult
that.
lines and go blah 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 blah, blah. So I
Right,
have
Crystal?
to.
Tell him.
Yeah, I have to just stop you there and just say you are 100% a real life singer, mate. Like, you have an amazing voice, great control, great range, great use, but I completely understand what you mean about writing the melody first because sometimes if you write music before you have your melody is sort of trapped inside the zone of the music. Whereas if you just attack it
Um,
from lyrics only.
Yeah,
there's a musician, a Brazilian musician that I really like. It's called Ivan Lins,
yeah. Of course, he's
and
awesome.
he has a very good way of putting it. Melody is it's the model. It's are the clothes you're gonna put on her.
Okay, well, hold on.
That is trippy.
So melody is the model, and the chords are the clothes. Is that what you said?
So he says this like a little joke in an interview. It's like, so the
That,
harmony is Gucci, and the melody is
the
I don't
actual
know
model.
what model.
You know that does make sense. I have to say, at least for me, right? There has been many situations to where just the melody captures me, like just the melody, and then I of course because I consider myself, really heavy on the lyrics because obviously it's something that I enjoy quite a bit myself. I I end up always reading the lyrics afterwards and then analyzing them. But most of the time, what really sucks me in, what really makes me go like, oh, what is that? It's just it's a melody.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think when you're limited, the thing that happens is that when you grab an instrument to compose any instrument, you're limited to the limitations of that instrument, which can
That's
be a
true.
good thing and a bad thing.
That is true. By the way,
The thing
that's
about
Carnelillo just shared another picture of Pechi. That is
yeah.
actually Pechi is sponsored by that company. That's an Italian company that makes metal guitars. Not for heavy metal, but the guitar itself is made out of aluminum and
Steel.
steel. That one is
Wow.
steel, and Pechi is actually a sponsored guitarist for that company. It's an Italian company, so 8Z maybe
Does that
has
mean
heard
you
of
get a
it.
bunch of free guitars from them?
He got one.
Got that one.
Fra-
I'd be stoked with one still.
it's a company called Fradua. Then later was called Tribe, and they're still around.
Yeah,
But
yeah. They have relocated to.
they moved to Switzerland because of some law situations and whatnot. But yeah.
Yeah.
And for those who are wondering where Canelillo came from, he's actually a friend of ours from back in the Ecuador years. He's been a friend for the longest time, and I convinced him, and I thought I had not, to join Steam months and months ago. And I guess he tried it out, he got confused and left, and then today I was kind of browsing around Steam, and then I see Carnelillo, and I'm like, man, that's crazy. And so I sent him a message, and next thing you know, it is my friend. So he's here, and I told him today to join us on the radio. So
That's sick.
that's Pechi. He was also sponsored by that company called Wangs.
You were sponsored by
That name.
everybody.
You know what it comes down to is this. Honestly, my brother is a humble guy, so he doesn't really brag about this stuff. But he's been everywhere. Like he's done so many things, and then the other thing that he has done is that he has slowly but surely shifted to not only being a guitar player and a songwriter, but also doing productions, which is I honestly think it's his biggest strength because there are many musicians, and I would say if not most, who are really good or talented at maybe writing or maybe singing or maybe playing an instrument, but lack the ability or the know-how or even the hunger to learn everything that you have to learn to be able to produce music, to be able to learn recording software, to be able to learn how to actually do arrangements, because doing arrangements is a whole nother story, right? You have to learn how instruments are supposed to play with each other so that you're not saturating. You have to make decisions almost as if you're composing art. Okay, what's going to be the dominant instrument of this track? What's going to be the one that's going to lead the melody? Which one's going to hint the harmony? And all these things require a lot of studies and a lot of musicians. Now, I wouldn't
do if you're OCD like me. So.
I mean, like, that is awesome because, like, that's my biggest downfall, I think, besides not being able to play more instruments, is just I have no drive and no understanding of technology and how to record and how to do all of the stuff that makes all you people sound so awesome every week. It's just so far beyond me, and it's awesome that you've chosen to focus on that as well, because it's a great way to build a living off a harsh industry. You're still working with music, you're still interacting with it, it's still a part of what you do on the daily, and I think that's brilliant.
Yeah, part of the reason why I moved to production is because well, also because you already heard the incomplete touring story, but yeah, I just wanted to get out of it a little. So,
I can imagine why.
One of the things that Pechi used to tell me is like, and he was joking, but I'm sure he was serious. He's like, what's one of the things that I learned to do when I was touring? I learned to sleep anywhere. Like, it was never, I need a bed. It was just anywhere. And we were like, okay, so we just did sound check. We got 3 hours till the show. Okay, I found a corner behind the speaker. All right, guys, I'll see you later. And he would hide in there and pass out for 2 hours.
that is completely true.
Oh my gosh.
and we make this whole thing about touring like with such glamour, right? Oh my God, when you tour, everything's gonna be great.
Oh, yeah, everyone always talks it up.
Yeah, they make it such a
Aren't you
romantic
usually
idea.
living on a bus? Isn't that usually the go? You're stuck in a bus with the same people for extended periods of time and not always the greatest amenities.
Yeah, one of the biggest advices biggest piece of advice I can give to anyone that is that whenever you have an opportunity to sleep, just sleep because that might be your last chance.
that's so that's so inspirational, right? Like imagine you're telling a brand new musician like Jose Cabrera, a really talented kid. I think he's fantastic. And he's like, hey, you know what? I want to be a professional guitarist just like your brother. And I tell him, hey, listen, I'm gonna give you the best piece of advice my brother ever gave me. Okay, if you ever get a chance to sleep, do it. Yeah, learn all the chords, learn all that stuff. Be good, but listen, no, forget about everything else. Above all, if you get a chance to sleep, go ahead and do it.
I think that should be advice for everyone, though. But I love my sleep.
Yeah. Pechi's got the funniest stories. I'm gonna share something about Pechi that is fantastic. Okay, and he might be upset about this, but Pechi has this thing, right? He always has had this ability to summon crazy situations that don't happen to other people.
Yeah. That is completely true.
I don't know how he does it. Okay, for example,
I don't. But last chance for the last one. When you get through customs, there's not a rule in here in Argentina. It's that you go to a machine, and there's like there's a light that goes. Then you're good to go. If it turns red, then you get like really hardcore checked. And
so it's like a lotto. It's completely random.
Nobody gets a red light.
But you got one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how it works. Okay, so check this out. Okay, I might add a little bit of Menno flavor to this story, but it's nonetheless true. Turns out, at some point in time, I don't remember the exact year when this happened, but that's irrelevant. The gist of the story is hilarious. I dropped my brother off at the airport. He's going to go back home. He's going to go back to Ecuador. At that time, he was living in Ecuador. I got there late, apparently. So when I dropped him off at the airport late, he was being a little distracted, being a little too hectic. I don't remember the details, but turns out that he ends up getting on the wrong gate.
Oh,
yeah. Yeah.
You want to tell the story, Pechi, or should I tell it?
Oh, you tell it. I know where you're going.
So then he's I think he was listening to music. I think it must have been, right? Were you listening to music with headphones? You were, right?
Yeah. I just had my headphones on and then.
So he's listening to music with headphones and he's sitting at the wrong gate and they're like, oh, last call, whatever. So he hurries up. He's like, oh my God, I'm gonna miss the plane. He gets into the plane, climbs on the plane, goes find his seat, sits down, puts on the headphones, and keeps on listening. And he's thinking, okay, I'm on my way home. And a few hours go by. Of course, there's announcements, as there always have been announcements when you do a flight. They're saying, okay, flight, destination 2, but he's wearing the headphones. Long story short, he gets to the destination, and he's not in Ecuador. He's in El Salvador. Okay, so he comes out of the plane going like, "What country is this?
Holy shit.
Where the hell am I? How does that happen?" Okay, because look at everything that has to align.
You'd think someone would have checked the boarding pass a bit
Yeah,
better.
so this
There's
is what
a lot of things that need to happen
for that to be the case, right? The person that's supposed to check the boarding pass has to not give a fuck, or I don't know, like, or the machine has to be broken, right? Then you have to not hear the message saying, last flight to El Salvador, whatever. So you have to be listening to music, and the name has to be close enough to where, through music it sounds close. It sounds, yeah, that's right. Ecuador, Salvador, Ecuador, it's close enough. If you're wearing headphones,
with an E. It's all good.
Yeah, if you're wearing headphones, I can see how that could happen, right? Then you have to get on the plane, and the seat that your ticket says has to not be already taken, because if, let's say, you get aisle 17A and you're like, no, it says right here, and then the moment the aisle 17A person comes in, then you'll be like, hey, listen, you're sitting in my seat. No, that's impossible. And then comparing tickets would be like, hey, this guy is on the wrong plane. So that didn't happen. Then you have to not see the screen for 5 hours that is saying they're going to El Salvador. Right? Or hear the captain talk for 5 hours. That's the only way that can happen. That's why I'm saying Pechi's got some magical powers, because I don't know anybody else that has gone on the wrong plane.
You're meant to
and
live
ended
a
up in the-
very full-on life, I think.
Yeah, but that's
You're meant
supposed
to have adventures. You're meant to go to El Salvador. Things could have been awaiting you there.
Have experience.
Oh, listen, here's another question for you, Pechi. I'm probably not gonna say this right. Itoro Archibong. That's probably it. Says, how about
That sounded good.
when did you discover the talent of music in you? So that's your question. When did you discover you were a musical Pechiche?
I'm not really sure, but the fact that why I started music, it's because my mom made me to. That was
The crazy lady. She wanted you to play.
I was a little gamer kid. I was just all I cared about was Mario Kart and whatever. And about when I was 10 maybe, my mom's like, okay, you have to learn an instrument. I'm like, I don't want to. And my house, my rules. Typical mom speech.
Yeah.
So she signed me up for the conservatory, and I started taking classical guitar lessons, and that's where it all started. Yeah. So thanks, mom. Basically.
Yeah, like
Have you-
awesome job.
Have you ever seen
Again.
that? Have you ever seen? Yeah, she's awesome. Have you ever seen that? I think it's like a semi joke, but at the same time, it's kind of inspirational. The thing where it says that, "Oh, my mom was a horrible person." It starts like that, and it starts going into, yeah, because when I was a kid, I wanted to do this, and she would never let me, and then blah blah, and I wanted to do this, and then when my friends were going out and they were having fun, and she would say no, and she would make me come home. Blah blah. Have you ever read it? I need to find it. It's pretty awesome. Because it starts out like this guy complaining about his mom being what it seems to be, like a very controlling woman, and then towards the end, him changing the tone and saying, "Thank you, mom, for being the crazy mother that you were, because I am who I am because of you." Have you ever seen it? I have to find it for you because it's beautiful, especially because you're a mother. You're gonna
That is
appreciate it so
beautiful.
much. So my mom is one of those, because I used to say to my mother, and I recognize it now. I used to say, and I apologize to her too, by the way, in case you're going to say something. I used to say, "You're crazy, mom. You got to be crazy," because she would have this when we were kids. She would not allow us to be bored. It was when we were children. We had karate, we had swimming lessons, we had conservatory, and I mean, you name it. It was like you get out of school and then you go do this and you do that, and then after that you do this and that. So we would never had a situation to where we're just home, just trying to do whatever, burning the house, whatever. We didn't have time. So when I was a kid, I used to tell her, "Mom," and I remember this, "Mom, that's not normal. Mothers don't do that. They don't put their children to learn instruments and to swim and to do karate and taekwondo. They let the children be children." And I used to tell her that.
But we were a pain in the ass. So
Yo,
I hate my mom. 'Cause now, little. Well, I call them nephews, but they're not my nephews. They're cousins, but they're kind of like nephews to me. And they're a pain in the ass. And they're not half of what
We were. Yeah, we were
yeah.
crazy children.
We were crazy. I mean, I think my brother's not joking when he says that my mom made us do a lot of things so we don't burn the house, because we might have burned it. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a feeling that may have been my grandparents' and mother's strategy as well, because my mum was away studying at uni, so she wasn't there all the time, and my grandparents lived there. And man, I went to dance every single night of the week, karate and other. My brother had air league as well, and he was taken to dance as well. Like, we were scheduled the fuck out of. And it was probably because we grew up on a rural farm in Australia, and yeah, it's dangerous letting us run wild there. We got up to a lot of trouble. We hid my broken arm for like 3 days, for fuck's sake. So
You what?
I understand.
Rewind real
I
quick.
broke
Did I hear this right?
I
You
broke my arm when
and
we
you.
were left at home the first time for like 30 minutes. I
What?
broke my arm in like the tiniest window possible, and we tried to hide it. We didn't realize it was broken. We just thought I'd hurt myself because I was roller skating indoors, which we weren't meant to do. And yeah, I broke my arm. We hid it for 3 days, and then finally, on the third day, when I was still in agony, my brother and sister caved and let me tell our grandparents. We took us to the hospital, and yeah, it was broken. So fun times.
That is pretty fun. I have to admit that is pretty fun.
Yeah, we got up into some trouble as well, so I can imagine. And it was only three of us as well, so yeah, trouble with kids at home. Yeah,
uh,
schedule the fuck
We
out of them,
we
keep them away.
well, you know what?
so
I suspect that was exactly what was going on in my mom's mind. It was like, this is the way I'm gonna keep them out of trouble. I'm just gonna keep them busy so they're too tired to do anything too crazy. And we still managed to do crazy stuff. You know, we still managed to be not normal kids. Whatever normal means, but you know, we still managed to pull it off. Now, with that being said, Pechi, let's not delay too much longer to play a second song. So, um, but I can I ask for a request, or
okay. If I remember it,
yeah, because I of course I have my favorite songs, but this one's very very special, and but I want you to introduce the song before you play it. This is the one that you wrote when Herbert Bings when he was getting ready to call it quits, or after he passed away. I don't remember the story, but can you just share a little bit why you wrote it and who this guy
The
was?
one you submitted.
That he submitted?
I
Yeah, I think.
submitted this. I don't remember, like an early open mic. Um,
Yeah,
Let me
okay,
see.
I remember it. I think, yeah, that one broke my heart.
I I might forget in the middle of the song, but this 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 particular song is I had like a really big disappointment in music, with life in general, and I just didn't want to do anything anymore. It's like I just went to my mom's house and I just needed some time to like to recovering my spirit. And I met this Herbert, which was a really important musician in Germany. He played for with big names like Steely Dan, like that type of,
Wow, nice.
yeah. And he was in at my mom's house, and when I started uh, speaking with him and just became friends, and he became some sort of a mentor over the years. He lived over at my mom's house, and he was the guy that encouraged me to come here to Buenos Aires and actually uh, strive for a music degree, and that it's a life worth living for. I used to visit him every time I went to Ecuador, and then one particular year he got really sick.
But he had cancer. The whole time he was struggling with a brain tumor, right?
and and I know I knew that was gonna be my last time I talked to him in Ecuador. I mean, that was gonna be my last visit. But I remember to Guayaquil, which is like 3 hours away from my mom's, and I got a phone call from him. Basically, in that phone call, he was he I put it. He pretty much told me if he went, in that moment he just left. Uh, if his life was worth something, it's like he was kind of asking me, is it okay for me to go now? The answer
Oh
was
God.
yes, and it was a long talk, but basically, long story short, I just told him it was okay. And the next day, I went to see him, and he had already passed out.
Passed away, you mean?
Passed away, yeah, passed away. He was already uh, gone. So this song, which I might screw up because I haven't played it in a long time, pretty much reflects that conversation.
All right.
That's,
Well, with
that's
that intro, and I'm sorry to get all sentimental and stuff like that, but I honestly, it's one of my favorite songs. Go for it. I'm
It's
gonna go ahead and
absolutely beautiful. I think it made my top 5.
yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and mute
just
myself. So go for it, Pecha. Whenever you're ready.
give me a second.
Even this to me is entertainment.
I, I don't remember.
He worries too much. He worries too much about making a mistake, and I'm sure that he's gonna kill it like he always does.
I might go a cappella at some point. Dicen que cuando me vaya y me vuelva a tierra en la infinidad, dicen que cuando me vaya y me vuelva a tierra y brisa del mar, dicen que cuando mi alma se la lleve el viento a la infinidad. Dicen que cuando palabras que lleve en mi pecho vuelvan a cantar, volaré, surcaré, viajaré en tu pecho, en tu piel, en tu piel. I forgot the chords in the middle, but you just kept going.
That's how professionals do it. And
Yeah, I
honestly,
hadn't played it in a long time.
it's a beautiful song. I intend to when I make this post, because of course all the shows go onto the platform later on. I intend to share that track because it's such a special song. You know that I think you made a translation for it, and
Yeah, there's a D sound. I actually put it in a little. There's a little demo of it. Mm.
it's
So
it's
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 probably played.
it's kind of amazing how things happen, you know. And it's not that I am one to talk about any kind of synergies or synchronicities and all that stuff because I don't really know if they're true. They seem to be true, but what I do know to be true is that certain people that touch our lives touch them in a way that it's not measurable. I mean, it's almost like if he had not existed, and I'll go as far as to say that if he had not existed in your life, you probably wouldn't be the musician you are today. But not even by close to it, because there's a lot of little things that he said to you that I
Of course.
that me being your brother and us having the conversations of the message that he relayed to you helped me too, and that's pretty crazy, right? Because I got it secondhand. Let me put it this way:
Yeah.
like his golden nuggets of wisdom, I got them secondhand. You got him firsthand. He was your mentor, your friend, and so what is that? You know, imagine you're in a position in your life, and this is for anybody, whoever is dealing with a situation right now where things seem kind of dim. You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. You don't know if the choices that you have made for your life were the correct ones to begin with, and then somebody shows up in your life, and that person just has lived all the things that you think that are not achievable, and gives you wisdom that it doesn't exist on a book, it doesn't exist
Yeah.
anywhere else, and gives it to you in a way that reaches your soul. And I guess I'm sounding a little woo woo, but because I can write down a book, or well, not me specific of that. Somebody can make a book of how to be a professional musician, how to tour, how to be. Those exist out there, and I've read them, and they say nothing to me. I don't connect. But then this gentleman, Herbert, he said things that even hearing them from you, they connected to me. One of the things I really liked about his philosophy is never to listen to the creative police.
That's his phrase.
That's his phrase, and that's a powerful
And
powerful thought.
it's funny because I've it really changed my way of playing, because especially when you go to music college, there's a lot of, they impose your do's and don'ts
Yeah,
approach and play certain things. And in an academic way of looking at it, it's good. Staying in the academia, it's a really bad idea, because then you're not really taking out your true self into the pouring it into the music. And sometimes whatever you put into it, it's not the way it's supposed to be, but just the little way that it makes it different, it's what gives it touch. So, and I got like a lot of criticism, in Ecuador mostly, because that's where I've done most of my career, for playing certain styles the way I play them. And I would always repeat that. I just don't listen to the creative police, and I'll just do whatever I'm doing. And it's not that I'm doing things wrong, because it's not like I don't know music theory or anything. It's just that I I take certain decisions and where to take certain song or certain approach, that it's not the way you're supposed to do it.
like,
So
or I
that
guess you could say the mainstream music dictates you're supposed to do. Like there's
Yeah.
no, I think
Go
not
for it, Chris. So you
not
were gonna
really
say something.
mainstream music, but for example, any style that is very rooted to to I don't know, tradition, will have that too. Go play a jazz gig and you don't have the correct guitar tone and you don't play the correct lick, then you're gonna get booed. It's like, I don't care about it.
Yeah. There's sort of like similar situation. It's art, like as in painting rather than singing and music. But I remembered watching a doco, and it was about these child prodigy artists and why they're so uniquely gifted, and it being because their creativity comes from a natural place of just sheer talent. They haven't been corrupted by being taught technique and the rules, because once you start applying those rules to the creative process, it can often stifle said creative process. And when I heard you talking, that's sort of what was sticking in my mind, just seeing that people that actually follow what they feel and what they love, there's a more unique creativity in what they're doing. Fuck the mainstream.
Yeah, but I'm gonna add something to that, because there's a I actually am a music nerd, and I have studied a lot, and I I listened to an interview of this musician. It's a Jacob Collier. He's like a prodigy, and he does crazy stuff. But he knows his theory, but like really hardcore complicated theory going on. But the way I like it is that in his master classes, what he to everyone that goes is that theory should be used, should be a tool, and he tries to put the emotional element into whatever theory he goes through. It's like we should try to see what happens if you go from a D minor 7 to a G7. What happens emotionally, and connect emotions. So that way, when you compose, you can actually are more connected with what happens to you emotionally, make decisions in that way. Those chords, but the reason why you play them comes from an emotional perspective, and I find
Yeah,
it to
and
be amazing.
I wasn't meaning like having no technical background is required, because obviously the more technical information you have, the better you can actually structure, because you know the theory to back it up. But I just mean allowing the creativity to allow you to move past the rules in certain
Yeah,
situations, because you're like, that's fucking better. That's what I want. That's what
I was
creates
actually
this moment.
Exactly.
agreeing with you, but I'm
Yeah,
just
yeah,
adding to
no. Same here. I'm with you.
Yeah, but that's the thing though. Like if you ever want to belong to like a songwriters, I guess you could call it consortium. Is that the word? Somebody correct me. It's consortium, something like that. But it's basically like a guild that these record labels or producing groups do, and then four or five songwriters get together and they come up with a song for Shakira, whatever, and
Oh
then
yeah.
they contribute. They have these very strict rules. It's almost like I don't remember all of them, but this is the two I remember. 30 seconds to the chorus at least three times. And, oh, here's the third one. Not more than 3 minutes. And I find that those to be so constricting. It's almost like you're asking me, here, let me tie your legs, right? Let me tie your both your arms to your legs. Here, now let me throw you in the pool. Go ahead and swim. That's how I feel. 'Cause,
Yep,
like,
and I
Yeah.
couldn't agree more. A perfect example that I've recently discovered was with One True Brother. His song structure, he doesn't necessarily always follow your verse, chorus, bridge, verse, your formulaic response. But as anyone who's listened to his work
yeah.
knows, he doesn't need to follow no formula, because what he writes is freaking brilliant. So it's whether or not you need to follow the rules to play it safe, or whether you surpass the limitations. And I have to agree, I love Peachy's work, so fuck the rules.
and
But
yeah,
right now in mainstream, every song sounds like.
yeah,
Well,
that's accurate.
have you guys heard the Axis of Awesome? They're Australian comedian group.
Oh, they're
Yeah,
They
hilarious.
did the song Four Chords.
Yeah, and they do all the
I
hits.
actually shared that video in one of my posts.
I love it. I've sent that to a few people when they get buggy. But yeah, it cracks me up, because the mainstream is just so repetitious. They shove what they think you want down your throat, and then you have no chance to catch a. Like, that's what I'm loving about Steemit, honestly, is being like, I would never have heard your music, PG, like anything you've ever played, if it wasn't for Steemit, just because I have access to it now in a way that I never would have before, because mainstream radio and the TV here plays American crap. So,
Yeah.
Oh, I can't
like,
stand radio. Like I don't think I ever tune into the local radio except for NPR, and that's just because I'm a nerd. But like to listen to music, never. Every time I'm in the car, I'm either on NPR if I'm by myself, or if I'm with my girl, we're listening to a USB stick that she keeps in the car, or CDs or whatever. But
I need to find
but
my
the
CDs.
but the
I've lost all of my music stash, so
but
I've
everything on
been
the radio.
stuck on the radio. It's torture.
And I'll tell you something. This is an opinion that I haven't said this before on the radio show, on this one or any other ones, but I believe, and everyone is welcome to disagree with me. I'm completely okay with that, and I have not changed my mind since I was 18 years old, and I don't think I ever will. I believe,
I disagree.
yeah,
Okay.
I believe
Go on.
that creative people have, at least, maybe let's not use the word responsibility, because maybe that's where we cannot agree on this aspect, but they, at least they should be aware that what they put out there has some sort of power or influence in what people say, do, and feel. And
Absolutely.
and I have a story. It's a terrible story, a tragic story, and I'm sorry I'm going to share it, but it's a powerful story and taught me a lesson, right? Because when you're younger, and I'm one of them. When you're younger, you tend to write a lot of depressive stuff. You know, you tend to write like you have this fatalistic views, and you have this
I
whole
definitely write
oh
darker
my god.
stuff.
If
All
you
of my
were to
stuff
read
even still is dark.
no, but if you were to read my stuff when I was 17, you were like, oh my god, make sure this kid doesn't even have a butter knife next to him. Make sure, right? Because I was so dark back then, and I'm not saying that is not necessarily a bad thing to explore those emotions, but what I think is important is maybe to explore them, you know, in a way that you can pull yourself out and you're an outsider looking in, so that you can have a really macro view. But anyways, back to my point. When I was about 18 years old, I met this guy named his name was Paul, and we became really close friends. We were actually going to the same university, and the kid was awesome. We used to play video games together. We had a group of friends, 4 or 5 friends, that would get together at my house, and we would play StarCraft back then, and that was like the thing to do. And I've always been into the singer-songwriter stuff. That was like always been my thing, Beatles, that kind of stuff, and I also like Metallica and all these things. But back then, I was more towards that, you know, soft-sounding music, and for some reason, all of a sudden, I fell into listening to Tool, listening to really, I still like it by the way, but listening to like really dark, really dark stuff. And my friend, he was listening to a band called No FX. That was like his favorite band. Well, 3 months went by, 4 months went by. We managed to pass the test to get into this college. We actually got into a very difficult and prestigious college. And my friend, as we were doing this, he got involved with some heavy substances. And not to say that that was the reason why his life started going downhill, but it sure didn't help. So I was trying to, in a way, in a very naive way, I was trying to help him. You know, as somebody who has seen it before, I was trying to see if I could help him somehow, some way, get his life back together because his grades were failing. And he was overall a good guy. I'm pretty sure Peachy remembers him. And I used to tell him all the time, especially the hard stuff. I'm not talking about like marijuana. I'm talking about like, you know, cocaine. I'm talking about crack. I'm talking about hard stuff. I used to tell him all the time, it's like, dude, listen, I know you're going through some stuff. I know life is hard, but like you really gotta get out, bro. You have people that love you. I would try to be that guy for him. And one day he just out of the blue showed up at my house, and he tells me, hey, I brought my computer because I've always been the nerd. I've always been the techie. He's like, and it's not working right, and I wanted to know if you could fix it for me because we got stuff to do next week and blah blah. And it was like, back then this was like a badass computer. I don't remember the specs, but I remember it being a monster. And I'm like, sure, yeah, go for it. But just bring it in and I'll take care of it. So he gets in the computer and he's getting ready to leave my house. And he says to me, hey, by the way, Andres, I just want to tell you, today's going to be the last day I do drugs. And I look at him, and I said to him, I said to my friend Paul, like, that man, that's the best thing you could ever told me. It's like I'm so proud of you. And I gave him a hug, right? And he's like, yeah, I'm done. And I gave him a hug. And he left. Fast forward the next morning, he gives me, a friend of ours, mutual friend, gives me a call and tells me Paul is dead. And I'm thinking to myself, this is a terrible prank. So I grabbed the phone and started screaming at it. This is a friend of ours called Carlos. He lives in Germany now. And I start screaming at him because I think that he's just coming up with, you know, the stupidest prank ever. And so as I'm screaming, saying, hey, dude, don't joke with this shit. Like, this is not it's not a prank. Like, well, you can't just call me and tell me this joke. This is not a joke. And so then he breaks down on the phone and he starts crying. And I realized at that point in time that this was real. Like, Paul was dead. And he says, yeah, he killed himself last night. And I'm like, what do you mean he fucking killed himself? So I'm in shock. Of course, I don't know what to believe. It's one of those moments, it's almost like life hits you. A bus, you know, doing 50 miles an hour just hits you out of nowhere. And I run to my room and I grab the computer and I plug it and I turn it on. There was nothing wrong. The computer started to load everything, and then I see a little text file right on the desktop. And it says read me, Andres, my name. And I click on it. And in the file, he's thanking me for my friendship. He's thanking me for everything that I've done for him, for being the guy to listen to him, for advising him that he should quit drugs and all this stuff. And he's telling me that even though he has nothing to his name, that he wants to gift me his computer. That's his gift to me. And he says, if you are feeling guilty about me giving you this computer, burn a $10 bill. And I'm pissed off. I'm angry. I'm angry because he assumed that would be okay with me, that it would be okay for him to say bye that way. And then he says, oh, I've been listening to my favorite album, and he puts a song by a band called No Effects. And and then he says, he writes just like this is my favorite line of the song. And it said, I'll never remember, this is tattooed into my brain. The only difference between you and me is that I don't have a reason why not to die. That's what that song said. And I could,
Jesus Christ, man. You're making me all emotional.
And I could not help at that moment in time to realize, and for the rest of my life it would be this way, the power that music has. And
absolutely.
And I'm not saying that it's only that song that did it. Of course, the kid was going through a lot of problems. What I am saying though is that I'm talking about me, as a songwriter, I'm never gonna put out shit. I'm never gonna put out a message that says the wrong thing to the wrong kid one day.
Yeah, you know what you're talking about. And there is a responsibility once you have an audience.
Some people might disagree.
I don't think people take it seriously.
Yeah, I've had people disagree with me and tell me, no, Andres, it's not a responsibility of No Effects and all this stuff. The kid had issues and he did what he did. And I guess I get that. Intellectually, I do, because nobody told him to do it. Not really. But I could not
found a connection to the lyric and the song. And
I could not live with myself if
he wasn't alone in that moment, in that decision.
Exactly. I could not live with myself like that. Imagine I put some art out there that inspires somebody to do something like that. Like I couldn't live with myself. It's some crazy stuff. And I'm sorry I took this conversation this way, but I just, this is how it happens when you don't script things, and all of a sudden the conversation goes somewhere. So I apologize.
That's what happens.
The beautiful thing to take away from that is that music is power, and it can be used for good and not so good.
Exactly. And and here's why, I kind of say this jokingly, but at the same time I'm not. This is why I believe that what we do, and what we do, not only specifically just you and me, Crystal, here today having this conversation. I'm not even only talking about Mena Support Group. I'm not even talking about Steam. I'm talking about all the artists of the world. That's why I believe that we have power. We don't see it, right? Because it's hard to imagine that the things that you do, the things you say, the footprints that you're going to leave in the sand are going to have an echoing effect. But they are. And it's an important reminder.
That's the hope as well.
No, that's the truth, Crystal. You have to say that with conviction. The things that you do today, the people that you touch, the people that you talk to, the people that you influence, the people that you inspire, those ideas, those things you do echo through time. They echo in a macro sense, in a micro sense, but they do. So I'm just saying this because I believe that all of us have the power, I guess you could say, to do good. All of us have the power to be a force of positive influence in somebody else's life, to be a force of inspiration to somebody else. And it's a good idea to wake up remembering such truth, because it just is. And as songwriters, as Pechi puts out beautiful music, it's also important to remember, hey, what I'm doing is not just sounds on a guitar. What I'm doing is not just lyrics. I am putting out a message. And if I am lucky,
intent.
And I'm putting out intent.
I believe I'm a big believer in the intent you put out into the world and what you get back. And I believe in using whatever form of interaction you have with the ethos world, people, beings, whatever, in a way to create growth. Now, I'm not saying everything has to be happy all the time, because people deal with things through music, and I think that that is honestly some of the most compelling music I hear. But I agree, maybe not saying, like, in that moment, saying I want to kill myself isn't the best use of that moment. Maybe something along the lines of, I want to kill myself, I wish I didn't feel this way. Something more targeted towards getting assistance to not feel like there is nothing worth living with, because that's the. I stopped pushing the button. I'm sorry.
Live radio, guys. Well,
Oh
Yeah,
god!
but
And as
I
soon as I
think
did
that
that,
it is. I mean, for example, I kind of like to play when I write. I'm not really specific with the lyrics because I want to just like people to give it their own interpretation. They have a songs have a meaning to me because I don't think I ever write without knowing what I'm gonna write about, even if it's an instrumental song. But I kind of just like to leave it in a certain way that maybe it can mean something different for someone else. I'm going to give you an example. There's a particular song that I submitted for the Songwriters Challenge. I don't know if it was week 1 or week 2, but it was one of the first ones. And it actually it's an upbeat song and it's quite happy, but the story behind it it's quite sad. It was more of a personal thing, and but I just decided to write it in an ironic way. It's just like, okay, it doesn't matter what shit you go through, you can always stand up again.
you can always
So that
twist it. You can always use it as a platform to push yourself forward.
so that song's called La Rambla, and La Rambla it's coastal part of Uruguay. And the story goes, to make it short, is that I actually last year I moved to Uruguay with my then girlfriend, and she kicked me out like the day we got there, and I was just in the streets of Uruguay completely depressed. And that's odd, but I kind of wrote it as a happy but ironic song, and it in the end it gives a good message.
You want to play that one next, Peche? Because I actually like that song a lot too. Can you do you remember it?
Let
Can
me
you
see.
play it?
Let me see. I haven't. You're asking me the ones that I don't prepare.
Actually, you know what? Let's do this. I don't want to put you on the spot. I asked you for today to prepare a few songs, and then I kind of put you in the spot because I started making requests. So let me ask you this: what would you like to play?
Well, but now that you say it, I mean, I don't know particularly. Well, that song I haven't played in a while, but that's like a two-part song that pretty much the the message of me being alone in Uruguay. So I think I remember the first part better, so I'll just play that one.
Go for it.
You beat yourself? Okay. El ruido en el silencio, el grito en pensamiento, las horas que bastar para ver, los nudos en el pecho que amarran sentimientos, de heridas que te dicen otra vez. No sabes, no sabes perder. Sonidos enfrascados de amor disimulado se esconden en el fondo de tu piel. Vas buscando formas de volver a olvidar, a lazos que te dicen otra vez. No sabes, sabes sabes perder. No sabes, sabes perder. No sabes, sabes.
It's a great song. I think that's the is that the newest one you wrote or close to?
It's not the newest one, but it's one of the newer batches.
You know what's funny
That was
about this whole
beautiful.
that's a beautiful song. What's funny about this whole trip how Pechi ended up in Argentina, which is which is pretty crazy, right? I think Agro would ask me, or did he ask Pechi? I don't remember, but why he doesn't live here. And the funny thing is that Pechi used to live here. He used to live in Florida, and he moved to South America for a little bit. He was supposed to come back, and then he met this girl. Then he moved to Uruguay, which is what that song is all about. And then, as he just said, then she broke up with him, and then he just crossed the river because it's really on the other side of the river. He went to Argentina where he has some friends, and he has stayed down there for how long is it now? A year and 2 months.
I actually studied here, so in total it's 6 years maybe.
No, no, I'm talking about this particular.
At this particular time,
Yeah,
it's gonna be 2 years.
2 years already? You're kidding me.
A year
Wow.
and a half. Yeah.
Wow, time flies. That's pretty crazy. Yeah, so that's the thing though. So now that he's down there, he's been of course doing music. Now I got him involved on Steam because he had no choice. I even created his account. Yeah, I honestly, when I found this platform, when I found the open mic, I was like, Pechi, no, listen, you gotta create the account, and he was fighting me. He was like, yeah, I'll do it next week. I'll do it next week. It's like, no, you gotta create the account. It's like, no, okay, yeah, I'll do it this Friday. No, you gotta create the account. Finally, I just went and bought it myself with on Steam. Send him the stuff, and I was okay. Log in. Now go into here, create a file, do it like this, participate in the open mic, and as we know, the rest is history. But he was fighting me on it. How long
Yeah,
did it take, Pichi?
that is true.
How long did it take? Like a month of me insisting?
That I was doing two jobs and doing things on the side. And it's like, okay, I got no time for this shit. That was my
I have the
answer.
same problem response with my brother. He's
Yeah.
a pain in the ass. It's like, why is it so hard to give people money?
Well, most people don't
But
believe
you're
it.
gonna
Though.
do it. You're gonna make money. Yeah. I don't have time for this. I gotta do this or this and this. Okay, and then he just kept insisting.
That is the key.
I've invited so many people, and it's pretty ridiculous. I started to make accounts recently. Osmond taught me how to do it, so I've been making accounts and trying to get some friends on here because I mean, I've been in the music realm forever, and that's probably the thing I understand the most. Not to say that I know a lot. I'm ignorant on a lot of things, but because I've worked in the music stores and I've played in all the bars here, I happen to know a lot of musicians, and I keep on telling them, hey, listen, you need to get your butt on Steam, and they don't listen. Just like you
It's
said,
crazy.
hey, I want to give you money.
Musician friends I've been posting about, and I've been asking them to come on because I think they do really well here. And it's like talking to a brick wall. It's like, come on, you go and bust your ass for a gig, and you do a set in crappy conditions. You had to pay to travel there, and you're not given any creature comforts or anything, and you can't post what you've already recorded on here with a few fucking words. Come on. Just if you're
Yeah.
sharing your music, share your bloody music, people.
Yeah, but the
And-
thing is that it sounds too good to be true, and that's and that always scares people away because most people think you're trying to sell them something. It's like, okay, you're trying to get me into this
Very
platform,
true.
so
Yeah, I actually
sell
had
it to
that
you. So
conversation today with a friend, and I kept on saying, "Hey, listen, bud. I'm telling you right now, you don't have to spend a penny. I'm telling you, I'm gonna open your account. I will never ask you for a penny." He's like, "No, but there's got to be a catch." He's like, "Oh, no catch. I'm telling you, you don't have to spend a penny. I'm gonna open your account. You don't even have to wait. I can have you logged on to the account, making music, interacting with other musicians in hours. Like you told me." So well, let me take a look at it. And by the way, guess what I'm talking about, Pechi? Josian. Josian, still, I have a friend. Is a super talented guy, super nice guy, and I'm kind of calling him out a little bit on the radio right
That's
now.
the
So,
way.
but I'm trying to get him to join Steemit for a while, and I've been insisting this whole week. He might even be listening, which would be kind of crazy because I actually gave him the Twitch link, so he might be listening. So he might get mad at me. But he's got beautiful music. He's an amazing guitarist. He does this ambient stuff. Like I would love for him to get, with sound waves and start, collaborating on some stuff together. I think it would be fantastic. And yeah,
I'm back.
he's still on the sidelines. He still doesn't know. He still doesn't know if he wants to do it. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna check out the website. That's
That's
pretty crazy, right?
frustrating.
It is frustrating. And
Especially when you know that they have talent and that they would do really well here. It's like, for fuck's sake, just do it.
and
See
and
for yourself.
and here's the other thing that most of us don't think about too much, right? We have this idea or this fear, and I say we because I include myself in this group. I used to think like that. I don't anymore. That hey, listen, I don't want to upload my songs because if I upload my songs, then maybe like a record label or a famous musician is gonna grab my song and then it's gonna change like a couple things here and there. It's gonna take it from me, and then they're gonna make all this money, and then I'm gonna be fooked. Like a lot of people have that fear, and it's kind of crazy, and it makes absolutely no sense for because of very simple truths. The first one is that mindset of scarcity, or that scarcity is completely in your head. Meaning if I'm a songwriter and I put a song on Steemit and I'm afraid somebody's gonna steal it, what I am saying, at least I'm implying, is that idea is the best one I ever came up with, and that idea has more merit than the creator of the idea, than the person that channeled that energy, than the person that was inspired to write it. See what I mean? Because it's almost like it was not you. It was luck. I had a luck moment. I got stupid luck, and I wrote a song that was amazing. And then if somebody takes it from me, I might not have that luck again. So first of all, that's bullshit. That's
Yeah.
not that's bullshit. If you were the person that channeled that, if that came out of you, then that means you're about to write a better song, and you're bound to do it in the future. So that's the first thing you need to eliminate. The second thing, like Soundwaves was saying, I hope somebody steals my songs. I really do. That would be amazing.
Yeah, like that sort of tells you how you have something worth stealing. You
Well,
know what I mean?
listen,
Like,
it's an amazing validation, right? Exactly. Like all of a sudden,
absolutely.
yeah, it's like, oh shit, my song is good enough for these people to risk getting a lawsuit because they find that's like a valid. What is better than that? It's like the biggest freaking compliment in the world.
And I mean, I feel the same way. Like, I'm writing my story on Steemit. It's a massive novel, and I have definitely stopped writing a huge chunk of it since I've started being an open mic judge. Just lack of time to focus. But the thought of someone taking it and moving with it is both terrifying, but also like, well, at least they liked it.
Yeah, but
you
it
know,
also comes.
it's
Sorry, Pidgey,
it's
go on.
in. Sorry, I cut you out. It's also crazy because I'm gonna talk a little. For example, Carla,
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Carla Vera. I just saw
Love
her
Carla.
yesterday.
Oh,
Yeah, she's a great friend.
is she
So
feeling
one
better?
of
Is
those.
she going to sing for us?
Yeah. She actually after she got some recognition in the open mic. She actually started doing local
She's
gigs.
awesome.
That's
Yeah.
a new one for her. So she
Really? That's so
yeah
awesome.
Yeah, she got pumped, and she's playing in a local bar. She's doing like a weekly gig
That
just to
is
get experience.
brilliant. Like that is the best idea. Just going out there because there's nothing like
Carla
forcing
is such
yourself
a
in front of
talented
a
girl.
crowd
It's a
to get used to
crime.
it.
It's a
Yeah.
crime she's not performing.
She. I mean, like when she couldn't play the other day, I was upset. I obviously told her she shouldn't strain her voice. She was sick, but I mean, I could just listen to that girl sing on repeat all day and never get bored. She has the most amazing voice. Super
Yeah,
jealous.
she's. I've recorded her a lot of times.
That
And
Nathan,
actually, another friend of mine got on Steemit a couple of days ago. Sol Burgos.
she's also super
Uh,
talented. Also an amazing talent
yeah.
that you brought over.
So I have more ones to look forward to. That is
Yeah,
excellent.
she's a piano player and a singer. Amazing singer too. Beautiful voice. Well,
So
Pechi used to go to IMBA, which is I guess you could call it the
Buenos
Berkeley.
Aires Music School.
Yeah, you could call it the Berkeley of Buenos Aires, like the Taco Berkeley. If I want to be like Soundwaves and be condescending, and well, even though tacos, nobody even knows what a taco is in Argentina, but let's call it the Taco Berkeley. And so he knows a lot of really good musicians, and they're coming over to the platform, and that's great. That's fantastic news. That's
Oh
awesome.
yeah, a lot of them. That's Carla, Luis Turchav,
That whole group. Then you got
that whole.
Yeah, like
Matthias.
the insane talent pool. You mean that you've brought on?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
No
both of
awesome.
problem.
yourself,
I freaking love
both
it.
of
I think it's
yourself
great.
included. Like seriously, it's. I know musicians tend to hang out with one another. I've been since having kids, obviously away from the music scene and become a bit of a shut-in. So I've had that cut off. But it is so awesome to see one musician come in, understand what Steemit and Open Mic can do for them, and then all of their creative friends come along once they've shown them what the possibilities are. And I just love that people are finally getting recognized for their music in this way.
It was funny because why a lot of them just jumped in like immediately because they were at first like I was with my brother. It's like okay, I don't have time for this, and I'm like, then after I did my first open mic and I got pumped and I was like really active on Steemit, and then I don't remember who it was. Maybe it was Peterman or it was Mr. Chaff, one of those. And he was like kind of mocking me a little. It's like just making a joke. So how much did you make already? Like $5? I'm like $600 in.
You gotta love that, eh? And I love hearing that someone that new and as talented as you is making that much, because that's the real problem is people being discovered, which is why I love open mic, because we do our best to highlight the new people that are just fully kick ass and deserve the support. And when there's so many people entering, it can be easy to feel like you're lost in the crowd. But the thing is, when there's these insane talents, they're going to rise to the top. And Peachy, you've won. Lewis for Chav's won. I think Vera Carla's won. Like,
I can
you
guarantee you
guys are
Soul's
just
gonna win
kick
too.
ass.
I can guarantee she's gonna
So
win. Too.
Mike win. Yeah.
Yeah, I can guarantee it. I already know. As a matter of fact, she's gonna win next week. Well, on her new entry, the one that I haven't heard yet, she's gonna win. And then we have. By the way, I see on the crowd, and I want to do a little shout out to Nathan K. Nathan K. is that alien musician that can play guitar, didgeridoo, drums with his feet, and cook an omelet at the same time.
Everything at
Yeah.
once.
Like
yeah, like
he's on the.
I'm nowhere near that dexterous.
Yeah, like the guy's out of this world, and I'm a big fan of his stuff. I like the day. I think was it you, by the way? Was it you that sent me that video? I think it was you. Or was
yeah,
it
was
Asteria?
me.
I was like, hey, listen, you need to
sent it
come
to
check
you.
this out. And I'm like, what the hell?
I
It
don't
was
often
amazing.
send people music, but
Yeah,
once I heard that, I was like, oh, this is going to be right up your alley. I think you're
Yeah.
just going to be blown away.
and it gives me
And
pride,
So
honestly,
far, I've
to
been
to
right.
be in a
I've been
place.
sending that video to everyone lately.
Yeah, I feel
Yeah,
pride that
yeah.
I'm that
That's amazing.
I feel a lot of
I
can't
can't
and I'm
chew,
sure.
chew gum and walk.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. It's like, fuck.
You know, the event we had this weekend, the Sounds of Steam. I feel so much pride in the fact that we all participated in that, and that I had to, even though it's not really a stage, but it is, that we were.
It was just a digital stage.
Digital stage. There you go. That I was next to these amazing musicians. I felt. I was telling Crystal, like, I'm feeling very self conscious about my skills right now. Ben Lee's gonna play.
You
Megan
had no
Kane's gonna...
need to be.
Well,
Because in listening to it over, everybody was just sublime, and that's you, both of you included. Like, it was the most amazing concert I've heard in fucking years. Possibly the best ever, just for the sheer amount of awesome. I've never enjoyed every single song with that many different people singing. Serious.
and after me was Melody, and she killed it.
Oh my god, Melody.
Oh, people lost it with Melody.
But I warned everybody. Nobody believed me too. I was like, hey, listen, go get the Kleenex, and nobody believed.
And I tried to warn them as well on air, and I'm just like, you have no idea. And sure enough, she almost had me in tears, and then I'm trying to talk, I'm like, speak normal.
You know what's funny? I don't know if you did this, but once Melody was going on stage, I went to Twitch. I screwed the Discord, right? Because I wanted to see Agro's face.
Yeah.
Did you do that? I had to.
I had to look at the video after because I was a bit sidetracked during the actual thing, but I just love the eyebrows.
Yeah,
like,
it's like they went up like, what? It was great. It was a special moment. Well, I had so much fun, and that's my whole point. We are at the beginning of something amazing. We are at the beginning of something that is gonna eventually, at least for me, in my mind, eventually is gonna kill record labels. It's gonna kill how this whole thing with the music industry works. It's gonna kill how.
Well, it doesn't rely on a few people deciding what you want to hear.
Yeah. That's the biggest issue. I believe in the potential of this to the point that I'm actually kind of changing directions of because I have a recording studio, but I'm like I really want to produce the Steemit artist roster.
Oh,
and I really want to take it.
That would be amazing.
That's going to be amazing. We were talking about this idea, and it's something, of course, we kind of throwing it out there. I've asked a couple people what they think, and I've asked you, Crystal. We are going to do a season 2 of the Songwriters Challenge. We just simply, we simply have to. I don't know exactly when that's going to happen. We need to figure some things out. I think we need to get rid of the riffraff too, because we have a lot of riffraff. And what I mean by that is, we have these people
people who don't give a shit.
Yeah, we have these people that think they can scam the judges, so they'll grab videos from somebody else and they'll post them on their profiles. Or this is one guy that I already found 5 accounts, so he will grab the same video, and it's funny because the guy has not figured out that every time he tags me, right, he will copy paste the exact same thing, and he'll say something like, today I take the challenge from Menno. Or I gotta find one and send it to you because it's funny. I take the challenge from Mena.
There's scammers that they're just dumb. There was this. I show you that link, Meno. That there was, I don't know, this small account that actually stole Agro's Sounds of Steam.
Oh yeah, the whole thing.
Oh my god, no.
The whole
way.
thing. He copy pasted the whole thing, and what I did notice though, don't know if it's because I'm having maybe the little scammy accounts, maybe they're talking amongst themselves. He did not tag me, because I am on the original tag Agro's, and I'm not on that one. So my Gina bot.
I was tagged, and
and you told me, but I was not tagged. Which was interesting though.
I flagged it, and my brother flagged it.
Yeah, between you and me, because it was a tiny account, we killed the post, but. What I am thinking is that maybe this little scammer had talked to another little scammer that said, "Hey, wait, don't tag Menno. If you tag Menno, he'll flag you." So he deleted my line.
Today I got flagged by one of those accounts, like really small accounts.
Well, they're angry. One of those accounts that was stealing also an open mic entry from a songwriter. The name is escaping me right now. I owe it to you, but I'm pretty sure Crystal it's gonna ring a bell for you.
I can't remember the name of that one, but I know someone tried to steal
Yeah,
the steam birds.
they
What kind of a moron tries to steal the
that was so
steam
dumb.
birds?
But
And
this one,
it's like some of the most well-known open micers and just general steamians. It's poor choice, people.
yeah, but on this one that I'm telling you, it was Live Steam. That's the name of the scammer account. You guys, I just remembered. So Live Steam.
Yeah.
They stole a video from the open mic entry, right? They put it. Oh, this is me singing some blah 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 blah. So I go there and I say, hey, listen, you stole this. They ignore me. I flag it. Then I see I didn't. My flag did not take. It just made it to go to 0, but I did not kill the post. So then somebody else came in. I don't know who it was, and then they flagged it to the bejesus. So it went to the. So lower the rep or whatever. So
if you ever notice that, send it to Steam Cleaners. Let them know, because we take plagiarism very seriously, and we will squash those that do it.
Yeah, but honestly, I wasn't trying to kill them
from others and the reward pool. So you're just stealing on every single front.
Yeah, but I wasn't trying to kill them. I mean, to me, if they make no money on it, they should learn the lesson. I wasn't trying to get the rep down to 0. Even though I joke about that stuff, that was not my intention. I get what you're saying,
but I agree with that on some level. But also, I've watched people that just do this again and again and again, and no matter how much you explain to them, they never listen until their accounts are completely destroyed. And even then, they'll keep on doing rampages.
But the story doesn't end there, Crystal. I got to tell you more. So this account goes onto my blog in one of my posts and says, we're really, I'm pretty sure that we're using a translator because it was funny. It's saying, hey Meno, why are you trying to flex my account? So I respond like, what do you mean flex your account? Yeah, my reputation is 21, it was 25, you flex my account. For this, you owe me 30 SBD. And I reply, like, I guess you don't know how Steam works. And then this person threatens me. So, like, if you don't send me 30 SBD right now for flexing my account, I'm going to report you to Good Karma, and they're going to flag you to 0. And I was like, go for it. Report me to Good Karma. It was funny. It was funny. So these little scammy accounts, they feel like entitled. It's like, what do you mean?
Yeah,
I'm not allowed to scam? Like, what are you talking about?
And that's the issue with open mic as well. As soon as we made the bot to help support the real creative talents, because we were just overwhelmed by how awesome they were and how poor their payouts were doing, everyone else started piling on. Hence why we went from like 150 entrants one week to 700 the next. It was insane. But basically, gone blank. Excellent.
No, but long story short, long story short, we are on hold right now for the Songwriters Challenge because we need to be able to get to a point to where the scammers give at least to a decent point give up, because running both of the competitions is pretty brutal, especially because the open mic right now has those 700 800 entries. So to think that we're going to be able to do that, and on top of that, parallel to that competition, have 40-50 more entries for the Songwriters Challenge, it's too much. I mean, Luz is gonna, like, maybe he's gonna sell some assassins to my house if I try to put that on him. So we're trying to figure that out. So I think, and this is my opinion, of course, I think they're bound to give up decently enough, like in a decent time frame, because we have been closing all the loopholes. So right now we have that thing that you have to say at the very beginning, your username. What else, Crystal? We have
the week number, your username,
the blacklist, right?
The blacklist, yeah.
We started a blacklist. Crystal started a blacklist.
And basically, we're going to mute you from the account that gives all the money, so it can't see you, it can't vote on you, you do not exist anymore to open mic. And so you either learn your lesson, ship up, and do shit properly, and actually give a fuck, or say bye-bye to any support from us, or even acknowledgement of your existence.
Yeah, just like that.
I'm kind of a little bit furious at them. If you guys
I can tell. I can tell. We're almost running out of time. This is terrible.
Those people that are really passionate about music, that are submitting the most phenomenal music, and then I come across someone's forehead mumbling a nursery rhyme, and I'm like, yeah, that's a great use of my time as a judge. And every moment I'm judging, I'm not spending time with my kids. To me, if you waste my time, you're gonna have problems.
There was somebody who did this, which I didn't do anything about it. I asked Luz and he told me not to act on it. But somebody grabbed the, like, I guess in the style of America's Got Talent, like the worst entries, and made a compilation. Did you see that?
Gosh.
And it was painful, but at the same time we're like,
painfully funny.
It was painfully funny. I'm like, should I say something? Should I go like, hey, listen, don't do this again. We're not here to put people down. But it's hard to listen to those entries and not laugh. It's kind of the Mary Had a Little Lamb entry.
Isn't like the guy that has the record on the biggest upvote on the whole open mic?
I'm not sure.
Who has the record?
There's a guy that it's like a 400 SPD.
You kidding me? Who's this?
Yeah. I don't remember, but maybe Lucifer knows, but it's a parody. I mean, it's a guy that's singing bad on purpose.
Oh no, that's Sir Lunch the host. No, but Sir Lunch the host is hilarious. Yeah, I know which one you're talking about. Sir Lunch the host is hilarious. He did that on purpose. Yeah.
I know it's on purpose.
Yeah. Sir Lunch the host is he's been around here forever. Like I think Sir Lunch started.
Yeah, I think when someone makes like at that level makes something like that, it's gonna make around $400 pretty easy.
Yeah, he's like a Rep 72. He's been here since 2016.
So.
Yeah. He's a great guy, by the way.
Schoolers.
Yeah, he's OG. He's Steemit
I was here
OG.
in 2016.
Well, you're also OG. You're also OG.
Yeah.
I'm like the new kid on the block compared to you. Well, here's the thing, guys. I have to tell either Ron or Codex because we are technically running out of time. We're technically 2 minutes away from the show ending, but we can continue. Honestly, there's enough people here till we can continue. So if people want to, stick around, if you want to hear another song,
I'm happy to.
I'm happy to stay a little bit longer, as long as Codex doesn't kill my stream because he has the power to kill it.
And also, like, I'm lucky because I can't, I don't have to go get my kids. Usually I'd be freaking out around now, like, I have to go. So, yeah, sweet.
Yeah, so Shane is, that I have to stop. Oh, I committed one of those classic mistakes that noobs make, which is I didn't start recording until we were like 10 minutes in, which is terrible.
It happens to a lot of people. I've heard that.
You know what? We were dealing with so many sound issues that I spaced it, and then Pechiche was about to.
The conversation was about the
10 minutes were sound checking. So
yeah. I think I can. I think I can give us a little break. I will allow it. I will allow us to forgive ourselves for that terrible 10 minutes of look, I can't hear you. Can you hear me? I can't hear you.
I'm
right?
okay with that.
I'm okay with that. I think we get a pass. But all right, so let's do something, Pechi, because obviously this is a Songwriter show. That's the main purpose of the show. So maybe we should do another song. So I'm not going to tell you again which song to do because I want you to play one that you feel comfortable performing. But do tell me, what are you going to play for us? I can go for it. Tell me.
I think I'm going to play one of the songs, one of my newer songs. It's a short song, but it's one of the songs I submitted for the Songwriters Open Mic Challenge that I actually wrote for that's the whole reason why this song came about was the pressure of having to a week, and it actually I like the song. I'm actually thinking of recording it properly.
For reals.
It's one of those things that it just worked out. So I've been playing it ever since. So I got a new song out of the contest.
Awesome. All right, well, go for it. Introduce your song and play. I'm gonna go ahead and mute myself.
There you go. Un reflejo, viento se llevó la risa que guardo en un cajón. Se escondió y no ve nada, un alma asustada. Hay cenizas que guardo en un jarrón de penas que un día se escondió, no dijo nada. ¿Será que hoy te llevarás la vela sin decir adiós? Una voz se eleva, se apagó. Y no verás la tierra sin pedir perdón. Una voz se quiebra, se apagó. Se apagó. Un reflejo que lento se llevó la risa que guardo en un cajón. Se escondió y no ve nada, un alma asustada. Hay cenizas que guardo en un jarrón de penas que un día se escondió y no dijo nada. ¿Será que hoy te llevarás la vela sin decir adiós? Una voz se apagó. No verás la tierra sin pedir perdón. Una voz se quiebra, se apagó. Se apagó.
I do remember that
Just
song.
beautiful.
It's a beautiful.
There you
song.
go. Yeah, that was written on pressure actually. It's like, okay, I got a week to write a song.
You
I
know, so
love
many
that.
good
And-
songs came out of that pressure, though. I honestly think that
Yeah,
as much as that's
it is
criticized, kind of like, oh my god,
Let's be honest, it's not even a week. It's more like 4-ish days.
it's a fourish. Yeah.
Yeah,
Listen-
it's really it's not an easy thing to do. There's actually one song. I mean, there's a lot of good songs, but I have a personal favorite. It's, from a user called Afra.
Oh yes. It's
He
like
has a song called "Singin' Winds."
it is a good song. I know exactly what you're talking about. I had it on my top.
Ooh.
That's a personal favorite.
It is great. He had a few entries that were
The
beautiful.
Sound Legion compilation, so I'm glad it made it there.
Yeah,
Oh, awesome.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
I remember. This is a duet, right? We're talking about.
It's just him and his guitar.
Oh, I know. No, he had 2 tracks that placed on the competition. So I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
Yeah, they were
There's
both
one
good.
that's like a soft ballad,
Mm-hmm.
like really, very felt ballad, and I love that song.
Yeah,
Right.
he's a very talented guy. I really hope he takes me up on the offer, because I told him that if he needed help figuring out how to produce it and stuff, that I could try to find him somebody. And that being somebody being you, by the way. Well, because we've talked about this plan, this ninja plan that we got going on of the new Songwriters Challenge, but I think I want to add something to the mix, something pretty crazy, which is to have Pechi be one of. I'm gonna give Pechi away to one of the winners. That's gonna be.
I like it. Pechi's
Right.
Pechi's the prize.
Yeah, he's gonna be one of the prizes because truth be told, some of these songs are fantastic and they need to be produced. They just it's a crime
100%.
that they're not
yeah,
produced.
I'm totally with you.
So
A couple of Louis Fichav ones for sure.
yeah. So getting we could do something to where we could, with the money generated from the competition, we could come up with a ninja plan to be able to compensate people to participate of a track and produce it using Steemian musicians, which would be amazing. And then we add that as part of the, as part of.
Well, Luis Fer is also a producer.
Yeah, Lucer is actually a badass producer in his own right. So.
I just remembered there was a question for you. I'm just scrolling up to find it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think it was Philo. Philo was asking something.
Yeah,
I don't remember what it was.
Some of
Maybe.
Can
maybe
I ask
Philo
a
would recall.
question for Peachy? Maybe some of the best places he's played in all the shows he did. So
Best places?
yeah, some of the best places you played.
That's a tough one. Let me think.
We're putting him on the spot,
Yeah.
people.
Because well, in terms of the best places as big audiences, I guess the biggest audience I played for was when I opened for the Juanes record. 10,000 people.
Damn.
Yeah.
You worked a crowd.
But it was I was a supporting musician. But
You still had to get up.
Well, it's
man.
still 10,000 people. It's 10,000 people.
But
Yeah.
but I have a funny story, of that, because my brother, as he was saying that I like to get into crappy situations. That was one of it. After we did the set, there was the artist wanted to play song that actually didn't anything, so it was a playback. So I was like, okay, one playback, I've done it. So we're doing playback for 10,000 people, and then a sax starts playing, and the song, there's like a sax solo, and we don't have a sax player in the band.
So what happened?
Like, what the fuck? And the singer actually points at me. There's a light, I get the light of Canon on me, like, and I have to mimic a sax solo
With the guitar.
Oh no! Oh no! You
That's
have lived
amazing.
an amazing life, mate. Really.
Well, I gotta
And
tell you,
people
Pechi
just-
has the
and people
story.
just went, "Ooh." Like, shit.
Because if anybody was suspecting that it was playback at that point in time and gave it away, sax solo, and then the guitar player.
And then I'm the one giving it away.
No, that's terrible. That's terrible. There's another story of a Peachy that's hilarious, Pechiche. He used to have a job, I guess, playing guitar for. I'm probably not going to tell the story that great because it's been so many years since I heard it. But he was the band leader for this artist down in Argentina. This is back in the day. So this is not in this current Argentina time. This is back in the other Argentina time where I think he lived there for like 4 or 5 years. And there was this girl, can't remember her name, but
Yeah, I know where you're going.
You know where I'm going? But anyways, there's a style of music in Argentina. It's very popular. It's called tango. Have you ever heard it? Tango? I think I'm pretty sure most people know tango.
Yeah, people know tango.
It's widely
Well,
known. Yeah.
It's pretty famous worldwide, but it's from Argentina, right? So the main instrument of tango, or I guess you could say the main characteristic of tango, is the bandoleon. Is that how you say it, Pechi? Or it's not accordion. Is it bandoleon?
No. It's a cousin.
It's like a cousin. It's like if somebody can tell me the name in English, I would appreciate it because I have no idea what the name is. But in any case, this is one lady, this one girl. Yeah, find me the name. I'm curious. So this one girl that Pechi was the band director for, and it's mostly pop. So the musicians that he has from the school more than fit the bill. He is organizing the show. There's like a big EP release of some sort, and they have like a special date when this is going to happen. So Pechiche is not only the guitar player, he's also doing the arrangements and directing and all this stuff. So one of the songs was not tango, but it was tango influenced, I guess you could say, or it wasn't straight out tango, right?
It's like a tango pop.
It's like a tango pop thing, but so I guess Yango-esque, yeah, tango. It was tango-esque. So then they found this guy. I guess they went and found a master of tango to participate of this particular song, and they told him, "Hey, so this is what we're gonna do, blah blah." And then when we give you the signal, you go ahead and do the solo. And from what I am told, the show itself was full of mistakes, full of sound issues and whatnot, right? But what I'm told is that when Peachy signaled to the tango player, it's like, oh, solo, the guy froze. Like in the middle of the song, he just...
I don't know, he collapsed. It was just like, we were like gonna bang it on a tango-esque rock pop song. It's like, and you know, it's all upbeat, and you know, the lights are going. So then the lights go off, and so, you know, how the show was scripted is like this bandoneon. It's how I see it in English, so I guess
that's the name. Yeah.
And supposedly, I mean, in the perfect world, this instrument just starts like, you know, wailing, and lights come in, and you know, but the solo. So you get we were playing, and you know, bam bam dum bam. I still know the guy, and this is all that came out. It was like,
oh no,
and that was so.
Like, what the fuck?
So imagine that, like the build up to the solo. Okay, and then go.
Underwhelming.
Was that your last?
I just signaled the drummer, who was Peterman, by the way. He's also here in Steemit. Just did the beginner count of 1, 2, 3, 4, and we went back to the song. It was terrible.
You just gotta go back. Oh, Peach's got the best stories. Another story. This is not related to music, but this is another Argentinian story that I love from Peachy. So when he was studying music, well, he was studying music back then, so it is relevant a little bit, I guess you could say. He was living the life of a struggling musician. So with everything that entails, you know, like trying to find the money to pay the rent and all that stuff and whatnot. So I guess at some point in time,
I still live that life.
Yeah, you still do. But back then it was even tougher. So, but she was telling me, Crystal, I'm going to tell you the story as it was told to me. And then Peachy can correct me if I'm messing up a thing here and there. That he's a typical guy in a sense. He wouldn't do his laundry until the very end, right? So he's like, okay, I already went through all the good shirts. Now I'm going through the shirts that maybe I should consider throwing away. Now I'm in the shirts that I should throw away. It's going. That's how men think. By the way, we have the good shirts, We have the ones that, man, maybe we should get rid of these, and then we have the ones that, yeah, we should get rid of these, but we don't. Okay,
And
then,
But
then
it
we
all
have
just stays there anyway.
exactly, and then we have a couple of pants because that's all we need, and most of it we should always have. At least most men that I know do a bunch of underwear. That's what we need a lot of underwear. Yeah, just have tons. But then the other stuff is pretty simple. And then, so I guess he went through the whole thing, and he's waiting to the very end to do his laundry. It also had to do with money issues, right? So, I guess when he's completely out of clothes, right? He grabs a bag, puts everything in a bag, and says, "Okay, we gotta do the laundry." So he goes to a laundromat down there, and and gives them everything. So everything he owns, he gives them everything. He's like, "Okay, I got nothing to wear. I've been wearing the same shirt for a couple of days. Here." So he goes back home, and then the very next day he goes back to get his clothes because he's got to go to school.
Yeah.
Closed by the
Yeah.
city.
No.
The city. The city. That's it. No, they closed it. It's no longer operational.
That is so fucked.
It's hilarious.
Oh my
So
god,
then,
why
the
would
worst
they
part-
take the clothes if they knew they were shutting?
I
The
know.
part is that I could actually see my bag of clothes
Oh,
from the window of the place.
oh no.
Okay, it's there, but I can't have it.
Oh fuck. That is so bad, man.
So then, Benji says this is he told me this story. I don't know. Maybe he's a little shy about this whole thing. He said he had to wear the same shirt and same pants for days until that company figured out what they needed to do and paid the fines or whatever to reopen, and he could have his clothes back. But he was like a walking skunk, you know, because this is the same.
That is
Shower in a
true.
can, man. Shower in a can.
That's an amazing story, man. But it's only happens to Peachy. It only happens to Peachy.
That is some very unlucky timing to drop off absolutely everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I guess.
But it also doesn't it say you should just do your own laundry though? Like was that?
I learned a lesson. I don't do that anymore.
Exactly. Yeah, like I
At
said, it's
least
a
wait-
college life.
Wait
Yeah,
with
just
a
like Amber said.
couple of extra items available, like just a couple.
Yeah. Well, now I do half and half. I kind of wash certain things and certain things I take to the laundromat.
Well, that's good to hear. So many guys
you
just
learned a
never
lesson.
graduate. I've
Fair enough.
had roommates like when I was well into my 20s that would just take baskets of laundry back home to their mother so she could do it.
Oh wow.
And I'm just like, are you freaking kidding me? You have a washing machine sitting right there. Why can't you push buttons? He's crazy.
No,
Oh,
you
man.
know what?
I love him.
I haven't gotten too much better over the years, but my girl, she's the one that throws away stuff because I am the type of guy that would hold on to a shirt until the very end, until you know,
Yeah. I've had
until
to
yeah.
throw
So she
out
just.
some stuff.
But you know what happens though to me? I don't know if all men are like this, but I get attached to that ugly, disgusting shirt with holes. I get attached. I'm like, that's my shirt. I like it.
Well,
It
I
feels
have
good.
a 2-pack shirt that I used to wear all the time as a teenager. And then I think it was my sister's before me. I don't know where the hell she got it. And then after years and years of me wearing it, then Adam sort of took it because it was a guy's shirt anyway. And now it's got all these holes in it. And I'm like, I don't want to get rid of this shirt. It's
Yeah.
been through too much.
Yeah, I would also have pants.
I have that with shirts, but I have that with shoes.
Yeah, no, I can get behind shoes as well. Like I'm a hoarder. I am. I mean, actually, I've been doing really well. Since I've moved, I think we've filled up like 3 or 4 skips, like 6 cubic meter skips of crap to throw out. A lot of it was just cardboard, but yeah, I'm trying to get rid of some of the crap. But no matter how much I get rid of, I'm always buying more shit, so it just keeps building back up.
Oh yeah, but you know, I think I don't know if there's any kind of science to what I'm about to say, but maybe I'm right. I think that old shirts, especially old shirts, pants maybe that's arguable, but I think old shirts do get more comfortable over the years. Like especially if it's like real cotton, because after you wash them, they become like
the
almost
fibers
like
soften over
like you're wearing nothing. It feels like you're wearing nothing, and I have to say, yeah, I'm not gonna go apply for a job or anything like that, and one of my special T-shirts, but it feels great.
There's a time and a place for every outfit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Mind you, actually, people in Australia totally just walk around with holy clothes. They just don't give a fuck. And I mean, like, badly torn, not like the professionally ripped jeans and stuff. Bogans. They exist, they are plentiful, and they have lots of scary, scary clothes they just wear everywhere.
Hey, listen, guys. So, technically speaking, we have reached 2 hours of the Songwriter Shop Talk. So, I am going to kill the recording. Now, does that mean we have to get off the radio? No, it doesn't. We can pirate for a little bit. I don't know if people still have energy, if people still want to come, or maybe somebody can come to the show and we can do some pirate with somebody else. I know LL Farms got on the radio yesterday, and she was talkative. Philo, we can have more questions, but what I am going to do is I'm going to officially going to end the Songwriter Shop Talk. So
then we'll keep talking.
And then we're going to keep talking. So I want to say this is for the recording for the people that are not here. They don't get the post. What's it called?
This is why you should come to the live shows, people. You miss out on all the good shit that happens once we stop things.
Exactly. You miss out on the good stuff. So this is going to be it. I want to say to whoever's listening, not to the people that are here with me because they're going to keep on listening, but whoever's listening to the recording, thank you so much for stopping by. Thank you so much for listening to the 3rd edition of the Songwriter Shop Talk. We are going to do this every single week, Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. That will be Thursdays, 2 a.m. UTC for those people that live in the old continent. And I will intend to keep on doing this for as long as they allow me to get on the radio and talk crazy. So in any case,
they're never getting rid of us.
They're never getting rid of us. In any case, thank you so much, guys, for listening. And this is Meno signing out.